I needed to be in London, I needed to be near London for work, but I really, really wanted to be in the countryside. It's where I grew up, it's where my heart is, and I have an absolute sort of fundamental need for contact with nature. This house was completely unmodernised, so it still had the soul and charm of what it had been originally, and it was very modestly furnished. So it was really kind of like walking into a little, well, it wasn't really a cottage, but it's just a very modest little house, but it felt like a cottage in a way, its proportions and scale, and it was really solidly built. And then I walked out into the garden and I just couldn't believe it. Because the garden affects how the interior feels. It has the biggest impact. My business is called Home and Found. What I love about my job is that you're not just, it's not really design, it's shaping people's lives. This is kind of where we live. It's hidden away from the street. It's just looking out onto the garden, and that's what our eyes are always drawn to. I've just responded to the light, really. I mean, I did start off with the ceiling and the walls being the same colour, and then I was like, no, the ceiling is way too bright, and I just need to soften it a bit. So obviously it's a sort of shade of mushy green, and the kitchen is a shade of mushy yellow. But I'm just looking at it by eye. Everything has a story, that's the joy. The table, I remember Rose Hilton, I read somewhere that she said, oh, you know, when I'm gone, remember me and remember all the times we had around our dining room table. And I think that's absolutely key. It's always the kitchen table, isn't it? The painting I love, it was by a Scottish artist. A lot of the art that I'm drawn to and the colours and things, they're very loose and undone. I use vintage textiles in all my projects, pretty much as I possibly can. Here I've used, this is a vintage Swedish flat weave, and I love these because they are made with lots of different threads and they're not one solid colour. The chair Simon and I found in the market, it was from a little hotel in Marlow that had closed down. The guy told me when I bought it from him, but I like to know the story behind it because I'm the last chance of knowing that story. That chair I found walking to my studio above the pub, and somebody had put it outside their house. And so I knocked on the front door and I said, would you mind, is it available? And they were like, yeah, no, we're just having a clear out. And I was like, gorgeous. Lucky me. You just never know what you're going to see. And I think curiosity, discovery, that's what makes life exciting, isn't it? I wanted this area to all be connected. So this was as far as the line of sight basically goes from the kitchen to here. So there was no point in it going any further. So that gave me the opportunity to carve off a tiny bit and to get a study in a separate workspace. It's just really nice to have a room that you can just shut off or be shut off away from everybody else, and you can leave all your stuff, you can have all your piles, your stuff that you don't want anyone else to get into. This is facing the front of the house, and it's where we come at the end of the day. The texture is so important. When you're designing a home, you're thinking not just about the way things look, but it's about how they feel and your sense, you know, your skin, how you're responding to things when you're sitting down, how the light bounces off rougher surfaces, shiny surfaces, all of that. And gloss paint is a wonderful way of bringing light into a darker space, making it feel richer. I had this beautiful rug, which I've had for years, and that was just a great starting point. And paneling the room and then adding the art as and when I found it, and the textiles. The William Morris textile above the sofa, Simon and I found in a market. I absolutely love the arts and crafts ethos, and I'm fully signed up to the William Morris fan club. We're on the first floor of our home, and this is the children's zone. This is my eldest daughter Freya's bedroom. As you can see, she's a very talented artist. In lockdown, she was sent home from university where she was studying fine art, and she came back and she started literally painting the walls, and I was like, you should definitely do that on something that you can sell and someone else can take home with them. And I had some old lamp bases, and that was the start of what she then calls Black Lion workshops. They're all bespoke, one-offs, and now she has her own little business doing that. It's Joseph Frank fabric she always wanted for her headboards, so that was the sort of launch pad for her room. It's lovely talking with her about what we're going to do. And I love the way that she combines colour. My other daughter, Ottilie, her brief, if you like, was, and children are definitely the most demanding clients, and sometimes you know that that's going to be an absolute nightmare and they will hate it if you completely follow their brief. And so my daughter's brief was that she wanted a blue room, but her room is north facing, and I knew that that would be very cold. And also, you know, children's tastes change and evolve, as everyone's do, but particularly children's, so it's a much calmer space than it could have been. She wanted a big bed. It's quite a small room, but we wanted a good working area, space for all her stuff. So the third bedroom on this floor is my son Jago's. He was the smallest, he's now the tallest. Being the baby, he got the smallest room, but he is very easygoing, and let's just keep him in there. But basically his room is small, but it's full of all the things that he's interested in. He loves travel and history, and we've collected posters and photographs and things as we've travelled around, and again, a reflection of him and his personality and his interests. Our bedroom is reached by an enclosed solid staircase in the heart of our house, and it's hidden away in the treetops, and you wouldn't really even know it's here. I love it because all you see are the trees and the sky. I panelled the walls and I painted them in a very soft shade of green, and it would just really echo all the colours that you see outside and increase that sense of openness. And the bed, I waited for ages until I found the right thing, and it's just a beautiful, very simple wrought iron, cast iron bed. And I didn't want anything fancy. I think my grandfather always used to say, "Why gild the lily?" And I think that's absolutely true. Sometimes you just need a space which is very simple and pure and calm.
Hello.
How's it going, sweetheart?
Good, thank you. Just working on these two lamps.
How are you finding it in here?
I'm loving it in here because I feel like this room is really like a collaboration between me and you. You like to think of things as like calm and natural, whereas I'm more bold and a bit more in your face.
I think that what we've created here is the sum of all our parts, isn't it, at that particular point? But everything changes, even if you don't necessarily want it to, and you evolve. And you're always looking at and responding to new things, as we always say. But some of the things that I found in here, like the gorgeous cupboard that was made by the guy literally sitting in a cave. I just felt when I saw that was absolutely perfect. It was meant to be here. But there are other things that you've created and added to that have come from somewhere else, or from your experience and from what you've been drawn to. That's what's so magical, isn't it? All experience is shaping you and moving you forward, and that's really what a home is all about, is taking those experiences and those loves and those connections and filling your home with that, not what you think you should be doing or what you've seen someone else doing. And what I really would encourage, or try and encourage my clients to do, is to not worry about what anyone else is going to think, but to really just trust me, obviously, but to trust themselves that it will work out and to keep going with it.